to SE 107.3.
Hey, Olive, Adam, Scout, it's good to have your company again. Last time I had you in on Christmas Eve, it was the complete opposite weather-wise, and the only tunes released from this record were Getting Older, Sydney, and Melbourne. Fast forward like half a year later, you've opened for the likes of Middle Kids, Teenage Dads, playing a headlining national tour, including a sold-out gig at our 2SER backyard, releasing a full-length album as of yesterday, so congrats are definitely in order. Now, I've read the prose on the newsletter, but for those not in the know, why is the album titled And Go Nowhere?
Well, And Go Nowhere is a specific reference to like a little cultural landmark that I stumbled across one day. So on the outskirts of Sydney, there's this huge bridge that goes over this river. It's named the Bridge to Nowhere because it literally, up until a couple of years ago, it literally led to nowhere. And I didn't know that at the time. I just was riding my bike and I found it and someone had scratched into the side of the bridge, And Go Nowhere, trust me. This was right after lockdown and I felt very trapped. I felt very trapped in Sydney as a place, and I took a photo of the sign and not the sign, the etching, and I kind of went home and it literally never left my mind. And Go Nowhere. It stayed in my mind the entire creation of this album, and I pretty much knew instantly that was the name. And I floated it to these guys and they were like, yep, love it.
What was the reaction?
Well, I saw the photo first and I loved the photo.
Is this the bridge one?
Yeah, the photo of the bridge that Olive took.
We recreated it in the city.
But when I saw the original photo that Olive took of that bridge over the Hawkesbury, because we hadn't actually decided particularly what tracks we were going to choose because we had this big list of songs we'd written. And in some ways, coming up with the title was going to be on the album.
It created the theme. It created the thematic through line because we had so many songs.
Any rough estimate as to how many?
Like 40?
Yeah, about 40 songs that we were choosing between. We were just like, well, this is the tone, like this kind of feeling of being stuck in your hometown, thinking that you were always going to make it out, and then kind of having nowhere else to advance to within Australia, especially. I mean, I think a lot of people in Sydney kind of have this feeling like it's like, well, this is kind of the best place to live in Australia. There's not really anywhere to level up to. And we grew up here.
So it sounds like disenfranchisement or like jadedness, I reckon.
Yeah, jadedness is the word. Like we are Sydney's biggest supporters, but we're also Sydney's biggest critics.
Well pressed and well dressed. You can't see any of that though, because this is radio.
2SER.com.
What's the emotional arc of this album, if you could describe it like a journey or a story, narrative-wise?
Emotional arc. I would say, that sort of coming of age, growing up, and the pains and the heartbreak and...
Yeah, it's very specifically about becoming an adult as well.
It's very specific. And then it sort of is like also about overcoming that as well, and actually like coming to terms with a lot of it. It's about the other side of that journey.
I would say even specifically on like journey of the album as you listen to it track by track, we start with Getting Older, which is a very individualist kind of song. Like it's very much about like, this is me, this is my problems, this is what I'm worrying about every single day, and it's from my 15-year-old perspective, that song. But that sets the tone of where we're at the beginning of the journey, and as we go through it, we finish with Front Door, which it's like the opposite of that. It's like we're better together. Like we have each other. Like that's what matters.
It's about a friend who also grew up in Sydney around the corner from me. Well, when I wrote the song, we were still living in the same place and we could still knock on each other's door when we wanted to, and we were still there for each other and we knew each other and how important and how beautiful connection is.
Yeah. She's since moved to Amsterdam though.
Yeah.
Not Melbourne. Not Melbourne.
Not Melbourne.
No.
Thank God.
I really, really dig how tight and crisp the drum tracking is on this. Adam, what's your mic setup like? Is it like full mic setup?
It's not specific. It's just like each song has its own flavor. We recorded most of the drums in a day. The setup was, just the classic, like 2 overheads, kick, double snare, top, bottom, toms, mic'd, hi-hat, microphone.
We were really creative with the drums though. Like,
a
lot of it is like this combination of like Adam's playing and then our kind of choices and how we manipulate those sounds. A lot of samples that are kind of playing underneath as well.
I dig the rhythmic choices, those garagey elements in Melbourne.
One who ran away.
Open hi-hat on the last chorus of Addison. Full on wall of sound and like the last chorus of How to Disappear, right? Are these all spur of the moment decisions, or do you have that already going into the tracking session?
They're a bit of both. It usually just happens when I play through the song. And I always like the idea of if you're going to repeat a section, at least change one thing. You can hear that in How to Disappear, like the kick pattern
Yeah.
so specific. The kick pattern keeps changing throughout the song as it progresses. Like it plays the same part, but it adds one or two.
It's actually so fun because Adam is so creative, such a creative drummer.
Thank you.
And it's such a fun experience because he'll come into rehearsals or like when we're working on a song together with his notebook with the song and he'll be like, so I've had several different ideas, and he'll have like 8 ideas. 7 of them are like, these are great ideas, it's too much for the song. But then there's like the 8th idea and you're like, that literally is genius and makes the song so much better.
Yeah, it's so different to me because I don't write anything down. I
notate.
Operating.
I have to notate. Like my brain just doesn't remember. If I just write it down, I can breathe properly because I don't have to remember it. I wrote it down. I know what it is, and I have that ability from teaching drums. Like being a drum teacher for so long, I could just map it out straight away. I'm playing in 4/4. We're an indie pop band. It's technically musically not the hardest thing to figure out for me. It's 8th notes, 16th notes. Syncopations
here and there.
But as Scout was saying, it's so true. Like I think Addison I think I wrote like 10 different drum parts for that verse. And then I played that in the studio, and then we were like, just play the chorus drums in the verse again or something. We're always kind of like chopping and changing parts as we go too. Like, it's just funny how like you can have 1,000 ideas, but sometimes the best one is the most simple one or the first one, or, it kind of surprises you.
Usually is the first one. I mean, a lot of the album songs have actually been reimagined at some point, but it's like a watershed moment. Like, you got to trust your own excitement. As a song maker, I'm constantly searching for my own excitement, something that actually makes me like want to jump up and down, instead of this version, which I think is good, but it's more of like a result of hard work. Hard work is good, but excitement is actually more important.
I always feel like it's like we do it in our own ways, but I notice that we'll do this thing where we listen to the songs a bunch and we'll be like so deep in it, and then we often just like take a step back and half listen, and the half listens are like kind of where you can figure out whether something's working or not.
Yeah. She's working through her flaws, playing records in the dark, taking photos when he asks. Yeah, you hope that he loves you. To me in class and we're smoking in the park, but I'm always in the dark when a second I come to. Don't give me a call or 2 in Jersey, need me to call you good enough, but when I call your phone is off. Don't want truth because you know I can break it down, down. You know I can break it down, you know I can break it down, down, down. Don't give me a call or 2 in Jersey, need me to call you good enough, but when I call your phone is off. Don't want truth because you know I can break it down, down. You know I can break it down, you know I can break it down, down, down. No, I met her at West Park and I tell her about my past, and she nods along but starts crying about her ex-boyfriend. He spoke to me last night just to cope with the fact he's going broke cause he can't stop doing Oxy. Really? There's something about the time that we spent together lying in our own respective misery, like trauma's a contest. After all this time and the birthday cards are fine, I thought I could stay reminded I should stop making friends like you. Don't give me a call or 2 in Jersey, you need me to call you good enough, but when I call your phone is off. Don't want just because you know I can break it down, down. You know I can break it down, you know I can break it down, down. Give me a call or 2 in Jersey, you need me to call you good enough, but when I call your phone is off. Don't want you because you know I can break it down, down. You know I can break it down, you know I can break it down, down, down. No.
How much of the demos actually the final are similar to the final draft?
Front Door, the closing song, is really similar to the final draft. The only the biggest difference between it pretty much, the demo pretty much sounds exactly like it, except we recorded proper drums over it. Surprisingly, How Disappear is actually pretty close to the demo because we really used a lot of the elements from the demo. But as far as I'm concerned, a lot of the deeper cuts, like Records in the Dark, actually didn't change at all. Like, we went into the studio and we didn't record anything in the studio at all. We literally just kind of did some creative mixing.
I did want to mention about Records in the Dark as well. Actually, there's a line in the second verse. There's something about the time that we spent together lying in our own respective misery, like trauma's a contest.
Yes.
The pre-chorus of Sydney as well. There's a bridge that still divides between who owns it and who stole it for their own. If I was a girl, there's a line that goes broken in pieces, inherited her, right? There's a lot of like really beautiful way with words. All three of you have that in the newsletter, right? We talked about songwriting influences the last time we were here, the likes of Pink Panthers to Cocteau Twins, Sweet Female Attitude to Pitch Perfect. But I wanted to think, right? Like, do you have any literary influences that inform your evocative word choice?
Oh, Elliott Smith. Yeah, I'm really influenced by Elliott Smith lyrically. I mean, it's mood, of course, but like the lyrics are so front and center. And I think especially as like a very young songwriter, like when I was like 13, really paid attention to what he was saying and like how he was saying it. But I mean, to be honest, like I would actually say our biggest lyrical influences are each other.
Do you write with each other's voices in mind?
Yes, absolutely. But I would also say we are both very heavily involved in each other's lyrics. Basically, it's like when we are writing lyrics, they have to be good enough for each other. And I feel like that is one of the biggest influences. And in every song and every line, we pull from so many different influences. For example, like, it has to remind me of an Anne Patchett novel, which is like literary fiction or something. Or sometimes it'll be like, we were recently inspired by John Keats. Or sometimes it'll just be like, I just want it to be fun and I want it to be light and I want all the sounds to feel.
This is what I mean when I say that Scout is probably my biggest literary influence, because she actually has real influences. And I just have like other lyrics that I think are cool. She reads basically.
I read books.
I don't read enough books, honestly.
Scout's mum is also an English teacher.
Can you believe my name is Scout and my mum is an English teacher? Crazy.
Terrible.
Amazing talent.
Live radio broadcasts.
Fantastic events.
You're on to us, yeah?
Playing off the previous question, right? Which lyric are you proudest of in the entire album?
You actually named one of my favorite lyrics, which is, there's something about the time that we spent together lying in our own respective misery, like trauma's a contest.
There's something about the time that we spent together lying in our own respective misery, like trauma's a contest.
Actually, that's not my favorite. That one I'm just proud of. My favorite one is the opener lyric to the entire album. It's Getting Older.
I fell down the western wall. I fell for a wish from hell. Do we all be for everyone else? Now I write my name alone in the waiting room.
When that was written, I remember looking at like the fucking page and just being like, and following your excitement. Bars, yeah. I felt like I'd written bars. So that's my personal favorite and my most proudest.
How to Disappear. Like the chorus lyrics for that, because all my friends are asking how to disappear. Have I done everything to keep them breathing? Yeah, I just think it's very powerful for people who have friends or who have had friends who are dealing with depression and so forth. Yeah,
that was another
very powerful lyric.
I can tell you what I think your best lines are.
You can tell me, because honestly, I'm
Sydney.
there like right now. All my brain is thinking about is like the names of the song and then like blank.
Well, you wrote lyrics so good that someone got them tattooed.
Yeah,
on them.
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that might be pretty good.
Yeah, I would say the entirety, all your parts in Sydney. I mean, actually, Sydney generally, I think, is probably the best song lyrically on the album. And you wrote the majority of those lyrics, and I think
potent.
Like, we haven't been able to essentially advertise with a song's lyrics like we have with Sydney. We've literally used those lyrics as like catchphrases. We haven't really been able to do that quite as much with any of the other songs in the album. And that was mostly your work.
I like that I referenced Melaleuca. That made my horticulturalist dad very happy.
Yeah, it's cool.
Melaleuca line the streets. We're more than 10 k's from the beach, but I still can't afford to sleep where I grew up.
Yeah.
To try harmonize.
All right.
Learning singing.
Spoken word harmony.
All right, Adam, how about this one? Favorite BPM?
120.
120.
Whoa.
Hey.
It's perfect.
What?
Perfect.
It's the perfect. If you want to go for a run, 120. If your heart rate is there, it's a zone 2 heart rate, which is good for your cardio. It's enough energy to just stimulate your brain and not slow enough to depress you.
95, man. 95.
Yeah. 95's 8. 120 though. Ooh.
Favorite song to play live? Go around the table.
At the moment,
Getting Older for me.
yeah, at the moment it's Getting Older purely from the audience reaction.
And we've gotten really good at playing
Yeah,
that
because we
live.
used to suck at playing it live.
It
so
used to
feels
sound like
really
shit.
good to actually play it. Like Melbourne, just like, yeah, Melbourne's great to play live, but we kind of nailed it when we first started playing it.
I couldn't play the drums properly for it because it's this like really specific swung kick pattern, whatever. And as soon as I started thinking, hey, how would a caveman play drums to this song, instantly I could play it.
Yeah.
It's so weird how like a simple concept can just like, oh, now I know how to play this. Play it dumb.
You just gotta look at me playing drums.
Scout, favorite song to play live?
Well, okay, I could say my fake answer, but I'm going to do my real answer. And my real answer at the moment is So I Heard, because it's the easiest for me to play. And this playing this album has been like, oh, fuck, why do we keep writing these hard to play and sing songs?
Yeah.
And just like, anyway, so it's just been a lot of practicing. And then So I Heard came around and I was like, this is so easy. I love this. Every time it comes up in the set, I'm like, oh, thank God.
That is the hardest song for me to sing in the whole set. Just so everyone knows.
How do we feel about New Friends at the moment?
Yeah, New Friends is good,
Friends
but it's
is pretty
finicky.
fun. But it still is finicky.
The ascending vocal melody on the chorus is really catchy. That's the thing. It's really nice. All right, democracy vote here. What song should we hear next? New Friends.
Yeah, fuck it, New Friends. Why not?
New Friends. All right, let's go.
Take it all, I don't want to. You're sorry, I'm sorry, you're sorry. Let's go find a way we can undo. Never trusted me, never trusted you. Not sorry, you're sorry, I'm not sorry. Yeah. Hey. So go and get new friends. To us two pairs, I wanna see through all your fucking shit. 'Cause I'm over it. Until Tuesday, give me what you say. You and me will be on our own for a bit. 'Cause I'm over it. We spent 6 years in school. You spent 6 years being cruel. Our friendship was a tool for you to act like you're cool. But you come over like you know me, and you call me a rock star. You're just a phony, you don't know me. At a loss since we grew up. So go and get new friends. To us two parents, I wanna see through all your fucking shit. 'Cause I'm over it. Got until Tuesday, give me what you say. You and me will be on our own for a bit. 'Cause I'm over it. You don't need me more than you need a reason to why. I knew that the sooner we got to it, the less you'd lie. So go and get new friends. To us two parents, I wanna see through all your fucking shit. 'Cause I'm over it. You got until Tuesday, give me what you say. You and me will be on our own for a bit. 'Cause I'm over it.
New Friends by Egoism here on Reverie. You're listening to 2SER 107.3. Now, the band joins me live in the studio right now. Speaking of new friends, you've actually built something really special with how organically passionate your fan base is. So tell me about the idea of using the Instagram close friends function. Where did that come from?
I literally did it as a total joke. Like, I just thought it would be funny. And then I don't know what to do with it now because I just like keep having to add all these people in it. And I just have this kind of thing. I'm like, what if we get to like where we have like 100,000 followers or whatever? I'm like, how do I keep adding people to this close friends function? Eventually I'm going to have to like cap it off, be like, you guys, the originals. I think the fans are great. Like they're really hilarious.
What are they actually called? I know you've used egomaniacs in the past, but to be honest, I'm a little partial to ego simps because of our typo from our friends across the street that I dare not name.
Yeah. Well, everyone's met. The thing is that ego simps comes from ego sim, which is a very common typo for the band. And it's been happening ever since we named ourselves Egoism. I don't know why, because I have never made that typo in my life. But everyone just switches the I and the S and it says ego sim. And I'm like, it's so obvious, but it happens constantly.
Hey, Olive, maybe it's because you're not dyslexic.
I was literally going to say, Olive, dyslexia is real.
Dyslexia is real.
I don't believe in it. I don't think it's real. I think people are just stupid.
Out.
Yeah.
Just get me on tape. Fuck it.
Olive,
on the
not
record.
dyslexic.
Guys, anyone who says they
Everyone
have
sound effect.
dyslexia should go back to school. Like,
Just
try after kindergarten again. Try again.
just try harder.
Try harder next time.
You know what they say though?
Skill issue.
Dyslexia makes you sexier.
Whoa.
You're going to find someone who loves you and needs you.
Right here on 2SER 107.3.
We love listeners.
How about the Discord server? What's your relationship like with your fans there when it comes to building that kind of tight-knit community?
The Discord server, like they treat it like a group chat. It's hilarious.
Yeah, people will be like, I'm doing groceries.
Yeah, like cool.
It's like, oh, okay.
I love it.
And then someone from the UK will be chatting to someone from Blacktown about their favorite, I don't know, 2-minute noodle brand or so. I don't know, something really niche and specific.
It's always a bit of like there's a bit of a, I'm not sure if this is the correct way to use a catch-22, but it's like the problem with being in a band and like fan interaction is that the busier I am, the less time I have to just randomly chat with fans online, which is kind of the opposite of how it should be, really. Like if we have a lot of stuff going on, that is the time to engage people as much as possible. And if we don't have something going on, then maybe we should be like knuckling down and like working on what the next thing is going to be. So I always feel bad because it's just like, I just wish I could talk to everyone more. I wish I could just kind of interact more with everyone. I'm doing my best.
For sure.
This is me like with a lot of I've got a lot of unread messages in the DMs right now that I'm just like, oh, I've got to reply to these.
I will say though, you know, one good thing about the Discord is I learned what a cob loaf is.
What? What?
A cob loaf. What was it?
Why are you saying it like that?
Well, how are you meant to say it?
Loaf.
A
Loaf?
Cob loaf.
Yeah.
I learned what a cob loaf is.
A cob loaf.
What is a cob loaf?
Because it sounds a little bit like you're going cob loaf.
That's the whole point.
Cobblestone.
Yeah, like a cobblestone street.
Rye bread. Cobblestone bread.
Okay, a cob loaf apparently is like you get a big bread loaf and you hollow it out so it's just crust, and then you fill it up with sour cream and onion dip, and then you break up the bits of bread and you shove them back in.
I grew up on cob loaf.
I've never had it before.
I'd never had it either.
We've actually never spoken about this, but I've had cob loaf a lot growing up, and it's still like a common like food that family and friends will make for each other at events.
This is real. This is cultural cringe, honestly.
It might be. Is it Australian?
It's Australian.
The thing I've learned from here, like living in Australia, is the bachelor's handbag is literally just a rotisserie chicken, and I was just like, that's
I grew up on that.
hysterical.
Definitely.
I've never heard of that prior to moving to Sydney, so I'm just like, what?
There are so many weird like
I like
catchphrases and expressions that Australians use. You just like.
I love that. That's the thing that's unique.
It's very creative.
I like.
Very creative. Stubborn and creative.
Let's have a listen to Addison Red right now.
You make it feel brand new.
Now, Addison Road is quite the specific street in Marrickville. Do you have any fond memories of that stretch of inner West Sydney?
That's where Scout and I met.
Oh,
Yeah, like we caught the bus together along the 428 that goes up Addison Road, and I lived at the bottom of Addison Road, and Scout lived at the top of the Addison Road. And
I was seeing Adam in the middle.
No, I was in the front of the bus. They just couldn't see me.
yeah, Adam was driving the bus.
No, I was driving the bus at 15.
12 years old.
12.
I'm in danger.
Literally. So it's like Scout would get on at the top of the road. Addison Road would end. The bus would turn the corner around onto New Canterbury Road, and I would get off at New Canterbury Road. So we would have literally like less than 5 minutes to talk about music, to talk about whatever, just because Scout was the only person that actually got it, essentially.
Well, one day I built up the courage to be like, hey, what are you listening to? Olive pulls down their Audio Technica headphones and goes, huh? And I go, oh, what are you listening to? And they said, oh, Grizzly Bear. And I went, oh, I like Grizzly Bear.
Aww.
Then so forth shared a love of music, which included things like giving each other USB sticks full of music that we had, like all our favorite music.
Yeah, we just give each other our iTunes
The
libraries.
CD rewrite, the burn the disc thing, the precursor to Spotify playlists.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't know it, but I sold them the USB sticks. They didn't know it at the time, but that's fine. But I was there. I was around for
But
this.
Scout also had
Origin
like
story.
all of. I found it crazy when she gave me these USBs. She paid for all of her music.
Yeah.
Like she
Respect.
Oh,
bought
wow.
all of her albums on iTunes, and I was there like, what the hell? Like I have
All of my
Pirate
money
Bay.
went.
Yeah.
All of my money went on
torrent.
music. The only things that I did like somewhat illegally was I would go to the library and I would take out CDs from the library and then put them in my computer.
Well, that's perfectly fair.
That is so safe. I've destroyed 3 computers
Oh
with
my God.
torrenting.
Yeah, this was just before streaming came in.
LinKing_park.exe. Now, Addison Road is preceded by Unreliable, which I'm assuming functions as like the halfway mark. Interludes don't typically get a lot of love. So what do you love specifically about Unreliable?
Unreliable is funny because it's almost, I think of Unreliable as essentially the evolution of a song that never was. We had this one song,
It's called Last Year.
last year.
It's
last
a great
year.
song.
Adam
which-
still thinks we can bring it back.
Great song.
Adam still thinks we can
B-sides.
bring it back. And we played it live like a couple of times, but it never really worked. But I always loved a couple of the lines that were in it. Specifically, you know, maybe if I knew all the things you told me last year, they were right. And it's just about a really specific time where I basically decided that I was going to dedicate myself to music. And it's essentially almost like an abstract imagining of that song. In this way where Olive almost sampled it and created a song out of it.
Yeah, well, we just used all these different instruments. I mean, there's so many. I think what makes it an interlude, initially it was supposed to be a very atmospheric intro to that song. What made it an interlude, I'd say, is just all the field recordings. I actually used a recording of me walking around the spot where And Go Nowhere as like that initial etching on the bridge was. So the steps you're hearing at the end of that song is me walking around there.
I wanted to touch actually on those field recording, those Foley samples. Like, what's the idea behind that? I'm thinking along the lines, you know, you say like, yeah, trust me, at the start of the album. You've got the dog barks in No Way in Hell. You've got the fucking plane, fuck off. Woes of being in the heart of the inner west, I bet.
Honestly, it's like the oldest trick in the book, like to making atmosphere. And I have a voice memo library full of just soundscapes of wherever we've been, and they just naturally kind of made their way into it. I think it makes it sound more pro, like, to be honest. Just as if you can squeeze as much personality into a piece of music, that's kind of what makes it actually translate to the most listeners, I think.
I also think it's important artistically because in some songs and in some areas it almost adds to the sense of place that I think the album is trying to create.
Yeah.
Where, you know, for example, the bird sounds are so quintessentially Sydney.
Yes.
Like hearing
Yes.
all these rainbow lorikeets just like screaming at the end of a day.
And magpies.
And cockatoos and kookaburras, hearing like a dog bark while you're on the side of a highway or something. All of that just feels so of the place.
It's like a soundbite of the city.
Of the city.
Yeah.
And we were really specific in what we chose for what song and how we did it. We did like the dog bark one. We got that specifically for that song because what happens, the song has a reference to a time where we were dealing with a barking dog all the time.
The plane thing was funny. I remember we wanted to
Plane thing was purely opportunistic, yeah.
It was. The plane one was actually, the idea was to voice memo a plane flying overhead. I was in St. Peter's and there was planes flying up ahead, and then I had an idea for another thing and I was voice memoing it, trying to send it to you both, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then I actually forgot what I was talking about.
We still have the original voice memo, of course.
Yeah,
it's not that old. It's like a year old.
I was like telling them this great idea, and this plane goes over. I'm like, fucking plane, fuck off. Like real, like.
It's not staged, it's real.
That was
like literally,
like,
he sent it in the group chat, and I was there like, that's it.
That's the meme. That's the tweet. Alexa, hit send.
Literally.
Yeah, legit, yeah.
And it just popped it in right at the beginning.
It was funny.
You are on 2SER FM 107.3. Okay, do stick around. I think that is actually really sound advice.
Finally, you're launching this entire album at the Lansdowne in a couple of weeks on the 13th of June. What can we expect from the show launch?
I would actually be realistic and say you can expect a crowd of 300 people like seeing all our lyrics. Like that's kind of what all of our shows are now.
It's very passionate.
It's extremely passionate.
That tidal wave of energy from the stage must be unreal.
Yeah, it's a bit like you kind of... I had a moment at the show at the Loft where I just was kind of awestruck. I was a bit like, oh, wow, I've never really experienced something like this, because we hadn't really like this. A lot of this is new. Like we used to playing to a lot of people, but we used to playing to people that are just politely watch the music and just have a good time, which I love.
Is that unique to the Sydney audience?
Yes, although Brisbane will get a little bit passionate as well, but definitely the Sydney audience is by far the most passionate. Yes,
Melbourne's cool. Everyone's just cool.
Everyone's too cool.
Everyone's
too
just
cool. Too cool for school.
We played house show tour, and like in Sydney, everyone just was like standing up and really, really singing. And
that was so.
And then Melbourne, everyone fucking sat down.
And we're like drinking
down. They were drinking wine.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you kidding me, guys? And there was like, I remember there was this one point specifically at that Melbourne show where like a bunch of guys, like young guys, walk in and they're literally holding a case of beer, and they're all there like, yeah. And they come in and they just like see 50 people sitting on the ground, and they're like, this look in their eyes, they're like, we misread the vibe. We misread the vibe. And they're like, I kind of want it to be more your vibe, guys. I'm sorry.
Adam, Oliver Scott, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I guess it's fine. I'll be alone tonight, 'cause it's hard when Nikki's around here. Get you out this time if I'm found here. Is it time? We side from left to right. I found a house that faces a car park. It's 1,000 miles from Barkham, and take me to your arms. I know it's hard to trust in a man that lost month before for a band, but don't write down, change your mind. Back to uni on the 3 to 5. Save your money for a loan. Yeah, that sounds shit to me, 'cause there's no way in hell I'm leaving Earth without ya. And all your booze has and your dirty blue guitar. No way in hell you leave the way I found ya. The more excuses left to be so far apart. Let's check the time. Supposed to leave at 9. Show me how I pull up in our lawns. Let's do it now with the living room light on. What's the time? I didn't mean to spend the night. Now I'm climbing down the veranda. Hope you weren't as loud as I remember. I'm praying they don't see my car. Where am I still old to be breaking the rules? Too young to be living a life we don't choose. So I don't wanna leave alone this time. Do we wanna go home? Yeah, that sounds good to me, 'cause there's no way in hell I'm leaving Earth without ya. And all your booze has and your dirty blue guitar. No way in hell you leave the way I found ya. The more excuses left to be so far apart.
Hey, I'm Olive.
Hello, I'm Adam.
I'm Scout, and we're just a local band from Sydney named Egoism. And you're listening to 2SER 107.3. Sure.
No chance of seeing what we're meant to be. No chance of stealing all our groceries. No chance of leaving time at 23. Don't look back and leave it as a vacancy. No way, yeah, no. I'm leaving her without ya. And all your boots I said, dirty work time. No way, yeah, hell. You leave the way I found ya. No more excuses left to be so far apart.